We were back in Paris, and Malin still hadn't been seen since I left her at the Palikao gate. I left instructions with a few local citizens to keep tabs on any rumors of her whereabouts. In the meantime, perhaps I would find her among the islands, and we would look for more of the islands. At first, we went to our old friend, the Shady Dealer. We called him Shady Jack, and he didn't complain. It was probably not his real name, so. The dealer was waiting in his usual shady haunt. He grinned rakishly at me as I approached, and we looked around. He had some weapons and a rabbit's foot. Not so lucky for the rabbit. A saddle would be maybe something that we could use now that our group had a magnificent oryx antelope. Yes, that would indeed be something that could be extremely helpful for us. It would allow us to ride the saddle, the animal, but the animal would not be able to carry more than. When we would certainly like something that would enable us to carry more, but we would be quicker, which counted for something, so we said yes to this. And we were sure we wouldn't regret this. Not at all. We looked at the Avalon Society again, looking at the club shop, and trying to find out if we could get something going here, but most probably not. Constant activity was invigorating. Our friends were already ready to begin a new expedition, and so we went on to the ship. The Explorer Clubs had many expeditions available. The choice was mine. Could look for a missing missionary in an archipelago, for the famed rainbow orchid, to return it to the ship, or look around to find a lost explorer and help them complete their task. Contact with a fellow explorer was certainly exhilarating, but maybe we would like to find something beautiful. The rare and fragile rainbow orchid has been discovered at last. To retrieve a specimen for our studies was what they wanted us to do. Do be careful. Yes, Madame Avalonia. Is that a Cthulhu ring? It was my last night in Paris, and I decided to celebrate over drinks. One of France's leading lights was in the tavern that night, quietly enjoying a glass of wine, the renowned writer Jules Verne. I introduced myself hesitantly, excited to meet such a famous personage, but to my surprise he revealed that he was in fact here to find me. It seemed that the famed writer of the extraordinary wanted to see such marvelous things in person. He was no hardy adventurer, yet perhaps... Oh my goodness, we could have him with us. He would have knowledge of the fantastic. Jules Verne! Oh my goodness me. How could we? No, we couldn't throw out one of our companions, with whom we had shared so many tragedies. We would have to decline. Remarkable as his imagination might be, Verne would be a liability in the field. He accepted my verdict with a Gallic shrug and quietly left. We could not leave our companions behind that we had shared so much with. As I neared the site of the expedition, a small supply ship pulled alongside. I was grateful to the Royal Avalon Society for providing me with funds and equipment. And we looked around what we could be able to get this time. There was a lot of animal scent available. And, interestingly, chakrams. We made sure to get some. At least for trading. But we would also have to go for some tea. Oh tea, oh tea, oh tea. I couldn't sell items, so we had to look around and maybe leave some animal scent behind. Instead of the chakrams. Granola bars were certainly very, very tempting. And so we had to limit our trading a bit. Also feeling naked without a first aid kit, but it would just have to work. Provisions chosen, I considered if there was yet more to be done before I landed on the island. We would refill our water at least 2 times, and as we were journeying to a tropical island, we were not worried about having too few water supplies. Let's begin the expedition. We said goodbye to the Royal Avalon Society and sailed to the location of the famed orchid. The island was calling for us. We heard the call of some strange wolves. Ow! They made at night. Ow! And that was why we contemplated. Probably the Royal Avalon Society had known something, and the animal scent was one of the things there. We would have to recover the rainbow orchid and find it. We had to look around, as there was a saddle to be had. On Mrs. Catley, and we would mount her. From far away we heard the calling of the wolves. And moved. But where? But where? The whole island was calling us. We met some of the islanders, strangely purple salamanders. Our first meeting with the people of this land was an encounter with a pair of scouts. They reacted with great surprise at our strange appearance. Cuddy P. Lillicourt. It wasn't long before we were able to communicate, and they had many questions. Firstly, they needed to know, where did I come from? We would tell them the truth. They seemed doubtful of my descriptions of the distances I had crossed, but nodded politely nonetheless. They were not yet finished. Their second question was simple. What did I want here in their territory? We wanted to learn about their culture. is what we said, because we were polite. They were delighted in my interest. Gesturing grandly, they told me of their mighty god, responsible for both bountiful times and catastrophes. He inspired love and awe in equal measure. There were other questions, largely inconsequential. I was relieved when it ended and pondered what to do next. I certainly had questions of my own. What would we do? We would ask them for food. As a show of goodwill, they offered us a small amount of food from their stores. I warmly thanked them for their gift. We got some cooked fish from them. It was finally time to go. I bid the curious islanders farewell and continued on my journey. A grilled fish, watch out for the bones. There was still the stone statue, and there was a path to a strange island. We went there without remorse and could approach the hunt master. I encountered a hunter's cabin out in that trackless wilderness. It seemed that its owner preferred a solitary existence out among the wildlife. We could send him to hunt beasts, but we preferred to trade for now. He would like to sell us seashells, but they were exorbitantly pricey. Could use our chakrams to gain some standing with him. We were not sure that was a good idea. As he had nothing valuable to offer, we left again. Not valuable for us, at least. We'd rather go to the stone statue again. And approach it. Discover the rough-hewn idol, its ghastly visage twisted into a cruel grimace. The great thing filled me with dread and curiosity in equal measure. Several items had been placed around the statue ritualistically, by islanders seemingly offered up to whatever this statue represented. We would leave an offering. I could leave a couple of chakrams. Water didn't count, apparently. There was enough water to be had. And we just left 2 chakrams there. I placed my offering at the base of the statue. A wave of peace washed over me, and I knew that my sacrifice had been worth the cost. Also, we drank some tea and ate one of these beautiful cooked fishes. Fish. We went on and tried to get past the strange wolves that seemed to guard this island. We discovered a ferry station, and also some more islanders were there to greet us. The day began with sunny weather, but soon opened up in a sudden torrent of rain. Just as it began, I happened upon a few islanders hurriedly putting together a small shelter. Making themselves understood with gestures, they seemed to be asking for help. I couldn't blame them. Almost unclothed, they were already soaked and probably freezing. We would help them to build a shelter. But failed miserably. I did what I could, but it was little help, and spent the better part of an hour out in the cold, driving rain. They were unimpressed, and I noticed later that I had a bit of a sniffle to boot. Oh, great. Just what we need there. We went on and looked to examine a coral structure. Oh, also had found an islander village on the side. We looked around. How would we get to the village, was the question. And what would we find there? It wasn't far away, thankfully, so we went back. But couldn't reach it from the coast. We breathed hard. Went back a few steps and sent out Joby. A strange coral structure. Trouble dog. A hog ducked something up. Coca leaves. Oh well. Oh well. Let's have some grilled fish, we said, and continued our journey to the actual village. There was much to explore and discover. Also, we heard the sound of some elephants that were apparently nearby. Let's enter the village, we said. Approach what appeared to be an islander village, but populated by strange amphibian creatures with buildings made of pink coral. We should study their culture. The villagers welcomed me with smiles on their faces. We would give them some gifts, but also looked at what they had. They had a couple of interesting items, but nothing too great. We decided to give them a chakram for their worries. And maybe tanning kits wouldn't be too bad for us. We met with a ruler. As I entered the hut, the chieftain was embroiled in a heated argument with her advisors. I stayed silent, waiting nervously until they finished. For a moment they noticed my presence and all eyes fell on me. I swallowed and quietly introduced myself. I could feel tension in the air, but I was allowed to make one request. I inquired if there was anything I could do to help the village. The chieftain told me of a great enemy that had been menacing her people. An enormous hyena, black as night. Was I brave enough to attempt to slay the creature? Yes. I agreed to kill the beast. The chieftain nodded with respect and explained where I might find it. Now I only needed to return with proof. It was in a dark corner of the island. I swore to the salamander that I would eliminate this scourge from their lands and thanked them for their time and made my exit. Exited the hut and breathing in the air deeply as I returned to the main village square. We rested in the village. We prepared for the night. Kezia Young approached me shyly. I noticed that she was blushing furiously as she approached. From behind her back she produced a bouquet of lush flowers. Stammering, she confessed her deep, abiding love for me. And she has always been so good to us, and with a spiked thing. We couldn't hope to find more love at our age. And in this profession, every day counted. So we accepted the flowers. Smiling slightly, I reached out and took the bouquet. We spent the remainder of the evening holding hands beneath the glittering stars, and then slept. More doesn't need to be said. We found out that it was strange hyena named Snarfrattle that we had to hunt. We left that place. We'll just quickly resume their business as I left. We were getting rid of the common cold. Needle plants guarded our escape, but we went through all kinds of worries. Ah! My goodness me. We should have done it. We shouldn't have done it automatically. We said we just had walked on without considering that more needle plants were there. Well, what was done, and we had to attack Snarfrattle anyway. Snarfrattle had a companion, a small hyena, was bent to do us something. Snarfrattle herself at a cackling howl will increase her strength manifold, the villagers had told us, and a rending bite. Could also use one of our chakrams, and we did. Or we didn't. We first wanted to make it vulnerable. The enemy. First we targeted the smaller hyena and used the chakram. Would we? We kind of would not. Instead we used our Curpin strike. And a thump to take it out. But also Snarfrattle was rammed by our antelope, hurting her dearly. Snarfrattle was doing what he or she could. And Kezia, we were worried about her. She was bleeding profusely. We attacked Snarfrattle without remorse. Snarfrattle wouldn't give up so easily. She went on and on in attacking us. We, though, were fearless and responded mightily. I slashed her. Kezia bashed her. And Homie shot. And the beast was done. I scoured the battlefield for anything of value. And what that was a black hyena pelt of Snarfrattle. A normal hyena pelt. and some other things. We grilled the meat. And enjoyed eating. Yummy. We tried to travel and still avoid contact with the dangerous plants. And met an elephant on the way. Thankfully, he wouldn't attack, but we could attack him. We didn't want to do that. We wanted to go back into the village. The villagers observed me with intrigue and gave me a formal welcome. They finished their task. I showed my proof and was rewarded well for my trouble with a spiked club and some standing. With the villagers, we exited the hut and wanted to rest and prepare for the night. The sun had already set when a few villagers approached me. They were about to go fishing and asked me to come along with them. I was curious, but joining them would mean I was losing precious sleep. We would still try to. And we were successful. I wielded the spear expertly. Soon we had enough fish for the village, and I had gained the respect of these hunters. It was worth losing that small amount of sleep. The villagers at this point had left us. We wanted to trade, as we didn't need more of something like spiked clubs or similar things. But what would they give us? Some more raw fish or red berries. Red berries was something that we would certainly love. Healing charms. We decided to sell Kezia's club as well. It wasn't really needed, and we just wanted something different. More raw fish we thought about. And then a healing charm was available that might help us. And we dealt with them. I reached a deal with the villagers and we continued to manage the trek. We dropped some water and looked around if any one of us would need something. We gave the machete to good Kezia. And the leather girdle to our warrior. Kezia would give up her cross and receive the healing charm for now. That would help her heal more quickly. Then we requested an escort to the ferry. Licking her eyeballs thoughtfully, the village representative began to negotiate. Oh, what now? What now? gave her 2 chakras. And avoided the dangerous plants. Our journey complete, the Salamander Guardians allow themselves a short rest. I considered where I wanted to go. We would leave for now. Happy that we avoided the plants. And we would go further into the jungles that we had seen. As we had the feeling that something probably interesting was there. Oh, we would also send out our good Truffle Hog. Truffle Hog dug something up. Even more red berries for us. We would eat some of them. To help with our recovery. Then we went wandering again. Through jungle and through adventure. Cutting off the jungles and finding a strange shrine. We entered the shrine in the middle of the jungle. I arrived at a majestic stone structure. The structure was slightly tilted and subsiding. The ground seemed as if it could open into a gaping chasm at any moment. We entered the shrine and found a small, shadowy chamber. We were looking for secrets. Pressing a suspicious stone, a hidden mechanism raised a golden sarcophagus from a recess hidden beneath the floor. We opened it. Found a royal mummy and some beautiful jewels. We went into the altar chamber to have a look at it and investigated. We found another one of these beautiful hyena skulls and a strange moonstone. But we decided to leave it in peace. We wondered if we had to fight these wolves to get to the orchid, and decided to do so. As experienced hunters, we were looking forward to doing that. We attacked the Guardians. Crazy and great Guardian Wolf looked at us. We made ready to hit him. First we would make him a little bit more vulnerable. Homie did that. Then we would attack remorselessly. We charged in our oryx antelope. Then took a quick shot, but the beast was still alive. It howled and attacked 2 of our people. We had to strike back. Flanked the wolf. Then attacked it without remorse. Found more raw meat and a beautiful dire wolf pelt. We took it all in and grilled the meat. Ate some berries. And charcoaled some fish. Oh well. With nice tea finish, we went forward to meet the other guardians. We would distract the wolf. Then attack. Without stopping. The guardian seemed irritated. Ow. And attacked us back. With all of his force. Through our relentless attack, though, we defeated the beast. Then we went on to meet the ferry master. Should we really use the ferry, though? We had heard of some strange traveler that was on the other island, quite nearby. We went on to meet him, hopping from little island to little island. Approached a trader. He was colorfully dressed and bowed beneath a heavy pack, but cheerfully greeted me with a wave. "Let's trade, good man," we said. He hesitated, though. It seemed that some of our quiet goods from the west out here in the wilds. We were happy to look into it. There were some rubberized waders that would help us get through water, and some beautiful and tasty chocolate. He was very intent on buying pelts and teeth And jewels. So we were naturally looking into giving him something of that. Some bait would be good, but... or a pistol? What he had at reduced price seemed great. We already had a lot. So we were just striving to get some chocolate under our belt. For the measly price of, oh... Actually... Yeah. The pelts. We had something to make them better, right? So maybe we should sell him the mummy instead. But what would we do further? We cancelled the deal. We would alter it further. We looked around and decided to tan the pelts that we had. To make it soft. Also the black hyena leather and one of the guardian leathers. We approached the trader again. With our soft and tanned pelts, that would surely be even better. Or would they? Yes, indeed, they would fetch a much better price than before. Oh joy, we said. So much for getting more chocolate. What else could we get there? Some bait or seashells. Maybe just one less chocolate. That also seemed like a good idea. Not spending everything on chocolate had saved our lives. And we ventured into the wilderness once more. It would help Kezia, who had been wounded. And we looked, there was a shaman hut nearby. It's time to drink some tea and visit the shaman hut. We asked for healing. What would he like to have, though? A tooth? For a mere animal tooth he would heal us. Or for a coca leaf. He had even other things available. A tide wand. A tribal artifact. and some protective totems. We would certainly take the tribal artifact and dealt with him. He would heal Kezia. Half a dozen swallowed slugs later, her wounds had entirely vanished. We also bartered on for a cleansing. Coca leaves he had wanted, so we gave him coca leaves. And a dire wolf pelt. We would cleanse Amar. We helped him on to her feet and bartered again. For a dire wolf pelt under tooth. To help our love, Kezia. We hoped it would not remove her love for us. She was no longer a hothead then. Would we miss her fiery temperament? And we would find that out in the next part of our diary. Thank you for reading, for listening, and happy gaming to you. Explorers and thinkers, have a great time until next time, and happy gaming.